me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Hey guys, Coach Dan here. Welcome to push workout number 1 for the week. So the only real unique thing about this workout is that this is the start of a fat loss phase for me. So this will last about 9 to 10 weeks. Goal essentially is to lose a good chunk of fat during this time while retaining as much muscle mass as possible. So what can happen when putting on weight or putting on muscle is that at the same time you put on or you accumulate a little bit of fat gain as well. So in that instance, it's like, you could continue going if that was cool with you and you were happy with that fat gain and stuff like that, and you just had a goal to maximize as much muscle as possible. But for me, leanness is a goal as well. So this phase is about losing as much of that fat as possible and keeping as much of the muscle as possible. So how that looks surrounding training is not too different, especially immediately. These first few weeks and stuff like that, it's not going to be majorly different, and maybe the whole time it won't be different at all. The idea is, again, to keep the same things that we normally do when we're gaining muscle, which is intensity, progression, execution, keep that all at a really high level. So as I lose fat or as my body takes away tissue, it's not inclined to take away the muscle mass because it needs it essentially. So if you were to do no weight training at all, your body goes, well, this muscle mass, we're not really using too much of it. Let's get some of that and use that for energy. But if we're using it all, need it, the body goes, well, we still need that. So what other fuel sources do we have? Fat, glucose, glycogen storage version of carbs and stuff like that. So that's the goal here. And but training doesn't change too much. The program stays the same. Everything, volume, intensity of effort, all that stuff stays the same until it needs to change, and then we change it. So today we go push. So we're doing incline Smith machine bench press. I'm going to change the incline on that, again, trying to focus more towards the upper pec or even go a little bit further. So I'm increasing that incline a little bit. Standard chest press, machine fly, all these big classic movements. My shoulder exercise is going to be a lateral deltoid raise with the cable machine. I might do that one lying today. I'm looking for a little bit of variation there. The one I'm doing is not super effective. And then we'll work to some of the other stuff like a plate loaded shoulder press, tricep isolation, and then that is it. So let's get into it. We head out there. We go incline Smith machine bench press first up, and I'll show you that change in incline that I'm doing. Let's go. Okay, first up we have the incline Smith machine bench press. So I lean towards using the Smith machine bench press these days versus a free weight one from the perspective of stability. So with the bench press, essentially it sticks on these two rails, which means there's no worry about the bar moving out of that. You can push really hard, close to failure, and have no real concern about technique breakdown pretty much most of the time. So I do lean towards this for a goal of building muscle, or bodybuilding, should I say. There would be nothing wrong with a incline bench press with the bar. We have one of those over there. You could set a bar up in a squat rack and do it like that. But for me, the stability is valuable, so I can push really hard with no real issue of technique breakdown or any safety concerns. So as I mentioned in the intro, we've changed this incline just a touch. So this is now gone from being I don't know what that first one is, but you'd probably call this like a medium incline. This is probably now about 45 degrees, I would say, and the first one was a low incline, so I'm changing that to kind of change the part of my pec that I am using, so work again even further towards the upper pec. So with that in mind, we set the bar directly above essentially the part of the chest that we're trying to work, so that's quite high on my chest, and that is the goal, to kind of work more towards that upper pec, or maybe not work more of the upper pec, but essentially work less of the rest of the pec, so the work that I am doing is going into that upper pec. Alright, so first time in this program changing this incline, so we'll have to kind of figure out if that makes me much weaker or it's pretty similar or whatever it might be. So let's build it up in weight and see where we're at. Let's go. Okay, next up we have the pin-loaded horizontal chest press. So if you think about that incline chest press, we're kind of targeting towards the upper part of the pec. This one's now coming pretty horizontal. The bench leans back a little bit, so that will make it a little bit lower pecky as well. So, but I've always found this chest press, this particular version at this particular gym, to feel pretty effective. So I keep it in the game. Feels good on the joints, feels good on the muscles. The only real thing that I adjust is I put this yoga block behind my back to increase range of motion, because it just does limit me a little bit in the range. So what I'll do is I'll take this up, put it in between the shoulder blades, find the sweet spot before I start pressing. So now that I've got that, things about presses are the same as elsewhere. Push out strong, think about the chest, feel that deep stretch, push out again. So again, if we think about the job of the pec, well, one of the jobs of the pec, it's kind of take your arm and pull it across your body like that. And when we do this chest press, although we don't take it through that full range of motion, we are doing that action. So that's what I'm thinking. Instead, I'm just thinking pushing this out. I'm thinking about pulling my arm across the body to best use that part of the pec that we're after. So a couple of sets here. This is chest exercise number 2. Feeling good so far, so let's keep it rolling. Let's go. Oh yeah. All right, next up, last chest exercise. We're going isolation, we're going machine fly. Now, this machine fly is a pretty good machine, feels pretty good. The only unique thing that I do about this, well, yeah, it's pretty unique, is that I grab the top of the frame here instead of these handles. So this frame, again, is going to have my arm a little bit higher and hopefully work towards my upper pec a little bit more. I could do this a range of different ways. I could take the seat all the way to the top and have it be low. I could have it somewhere in the middle. Or for me, I'm going up. That, again, being my focus, the area that I see a little bit of a weakness for me is the upper part of the chest. So that's what I'm doing with that. The other thing I do that I recommend for people is to take this arm or these arms as far back as your flexibility can manage. So when we're doing resistance training, it appears that taking the muscle into a lengthened position and having a lot of tension being applied in that lengthened position has a lot of value. So if you think if I'm only doing a fly here, I'm not getting a massive stretch. I take it all the way back here, or to my best flexibility, I get a bigger stretch. So I'll grab handle like this. Soft bend at the elbow is another tip here, as the bicep is a muscle that passes into the shoulder. It can help with movements like this. We don't want it to be a massive contributor, so if we bend the elbow, that'll shorten the bicep a bit, and then I'm driving my arms across the body towards the middle of the body, squeezing my chest. Control, big stretch, squeeze. Cool, this feels good. So what we've done up until now is we've had 2 pressing movements. Now with the pressing movements, they will often incorporate other muscles. We call them compound movements, where the elbow is straightening at the same time the shoulder is moving. So sure, the chest works, but the tricep works as well. Here we're trying to more isolate the chest. Still within this exercise, you'll get things like the anterior deltoid contributing, because again, it's sort of passing through that part of the arm, and it can help pull in this direction. But again, now we're taking the tricep out of the game and trying to get that chest as isolated as possible. All right, let's get after it. Okay, after a little bit of deliberation, we're going to go with a lateral deltoid exercise. Has been a single arm through the legs cable lateral raise. Now, I just haven't found that to be very effective, so I'm decided to, I feel very effective, should I say. So I've decided to kind of make a bit of a change here, and what we're going to change to is this lying on your supine legs, lying on your back, dual cable lateral raise. So essentially, I'll show you what I do here in a second, but I've done this once before and it felt very effective. The setup's a bit annoying though. You've got to get the setup right. It takes a little bit of time, and I've substituted it a little while back because of that, and trying to find a different exercise. So, but it seems like the best option at the time. It seems like this is going to be the most effective option. So we've got this bench set up in this small cable machine. I'll essentially grab my right arm to the other cable machine, then I'll switch and grab the left to the opposite, so you're going opposite on these. Then I've got the bench on the lowest incline. I've got the height of the arms at probably body level or bench level. We lay back and we have this lateral raise variation. So yeah, as mentioned, some downsides is the setup for this. So you have to obviously get into position, get the bench right, get everything right, get the cables right and stuff like that. Some of the upsides though is just you're really stable on the bench, so you kind of get locked in, and you really can't move too far, which means that it's really hard to cheat the movement. If you can't cheat the movement, it means the muscles are going to be the ones doing the work, not swinging the body around or anything like that. And that is a good thing. So we're doing a few sets here. So we'll get the weight set and then we will get into it. Alright, quick recap on that lateral raise. That's quite good. Setup's a bit funky, So you've got to get a bench, roll it over the crossover or functional trainer, get the right height, blah, 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 blah. But now that I've done all that once, now I can simply just write it in my notes, which I've done on my program, write it in notes, and then I know every time I come back, I can roll straight into it, and it felt pretty effective. Again, you could choose different heights depending on what feels good for you, height of the cable, but also height of your bench. So you can choose what feels good for you. Again, for me, that's a lateral delt exercise, so that's what I want to feel. I want to feel a stimulus in my lateral delt. And if I felt that, that's good. No joint pain, that's good. All these kinds of things. And then you can believe that if I can build up with that over the next couple of months, that will be a good thing. All right, so now we move on to the neutral grip shoulder press. So you think, oh, that's a bit unusual. Why are we going from an isolation exercise into a compound exercise? Potentially the fatigue from that might make this worse. And that is a very accurate comment. However, the priority for me is not the muscles that are involved with this. They're more such that. So the priority comes first. The lateral deltoid is more of a priority than the anterior deltoid, which this is more prone to target. So if you think about lateral deltoid, is kind of pulling the arm out to the side. Anterior deltoid, how it's positioned, is kind of pulling your arm in towards your head. So raising your arm in these kind of positions. So as I shoulder press here, it's going to be a little bit better suited to do the job than the lateral deltoid. But again, there's a combination of these things. So with that said, I do a neutral grip. That's just what I've been working on. It feels good for me. Essentially, again, as we do this movement, we're not thinking push it up. We're thinking pull the arm in towards the head. So we can use that anterior delt. So I'm here, pulling that arm in towards the head, control the way down, pull it in. Now I have my height of my bench such that it will allow a nice range of motion. So if this was too low, it would essentially have me doing this. So I raise it all the way up, give me a nice stretch through that anterior deltoid and allowing me to go through that good range of motion. So that's one point. You got this handle as well on this machine. I'll use that at some stage, I'm sure. But for now, this one feels good and I've been building up nicely, which I'm happy with because normally I'm not as strong at this movement. So it'd be cool to get better at it. All right, let's rip into it. Alright, capping the workout off with the Smith Machine Skull Crusher. So this is the Skull Crusher of choice at the moment. So a couple little pointers about the Smith Machine Skull Crusher. Obviously, being that it's a Smith Machine like when we used with the Incline bench from before, it's not moving this way or this way. Once you set up, that's it. It's coming up and down versus a barbell, dumbbell, easy bar skull crusher. Any of these other variations, you can kind of sit down and then you move the bar where you want it. Here, there's none of that. This is how it is. It's coming up and down. So when you set up at the beginning, you got to be sure that that's the setup that you want. So that takes a little bit of jimmying around. So I know for me, I particularly like these skull crushers kind of coming above my head. So variations of skull crushers people might use might be like to the forehead, to the chin or throat area. But I've always found the most effective variation for me kind of comes to the top of my head. So I'll take hands about shoulder width apart. Skull crusher comes up, flex at the elbow, control that down phase, kind of shimmy myself forward till I kind of find that sweet spot, and then extend the elbow. So I kind of cap out the bottom of the machine on this one. Now, or something I could do is put the bench on an incline or get a higher box or something like that to do them off of. But for me, it is good for the time being and it feels effective. So that's about all we need to know about that one. All right, let's rip in. fuck me. All right, guys, that caps off the first push workout on this cut of mine. So just some things to consider if you are interested in a fat loss phase. Your lifting should still probably be, we still want to lift hard and try to keep getting better. If we kind of just switch off and just kind of like accept that we're going to get weaker or lose muscle, often you'll just let that kind of happen. But if we lift weights hard, we try and maintain our performance, which might try and keep trying as hard as we possibly can. We can keep that muscle while we lose the fat. And that would be the goal of a fat loss phase for someone who's interested in maintaining muscle mass and getting as lean as possible. So that's the goal. The other couple of things to consider is that generally being in a energy deficit is a fatiguing thing. So we want to manage that appropriately. So doing things that are super fatiguing is probably not great for the overall outcome. So we want to make sure we can manage our fatigue, because we have to do this for a duration of time. So we're probably not immediately jacking up anything too intensely, otherwise that fatigue will crank up and it will cause the phase to be cut short and stuff like that. So some things to keep in mind, but this is workout number 1. It went well. It's very enjoyable. As a recap overall, a couple of things that I've done today I'm really happy with. So we keep going. My motivation is high. It's only day 1, but again, it's high. We're thinking about doing this for about 10 weeks. So we've got to kind of have the juice to kind of do it for 10 weeks. So that's something to keep in mind. Fat loss goals aren't for 2 weeks. So if you go balls to the wall, lose 4 kilos in 2 weeks, but can't sustain anything past there or rebound after that, I mean, that's ultimately going to end in a bad outcome, right? If your goal is to get leaner. So as always, guys, if you can hit the little subscription man up there, that would be much appreciated. Hit the video over here if you want to see how I'm training some of the other muscle groups. And as always, it's about progress over perfection. Coach Dan, signing off.